just came up from what was just being said, which is there's well-known a world guru right now that's saying, I decide when I'm going to give the blessings or not to the disciples, whereas my wife, she's more quick to give the blessings than so that just came up from that.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to beat around the bush. Kalki is saying that, okay? The oneness, they're having a big shake-up. Big shake-up there now. And he says he wants everything disbanded because he doesn't want it to become a cult. Well, it is a cult. He's saying he's an avatar. I'm God, and I'm going to decide when you pray, I'll decide if you get the job you're praying for or not. There's no persona that's deciding anything for anyone. Grace happens, okay? So if somebody's in persona saying, I am God, that's delusion. There is only God. There is only God. Equally where you are, where I am, equally. Just because there's realization doesn't mean there's more God. Or that the persona has changed into a God. One doesn't become a God. There is only God, one, equally, everywhere, equally. Okay? So what apparently is going on there, another thing that's been said, which is just mind-boggling, is that it was saying, well, we have to have 64,000 enlightened beings to save the planet. Okay. Nonsense. Where does this idea of 64,000 come from? Then it was all the Dasajis had left. The sun had left. Those two that were running things had left. So now he's trying to backpedal, run interference. Well, yes, I was saying they're enlightened, but they're in an enlightenment state, and so they're not actually enlightened. Enlightenment state, it comes and goes. Well, then where are all these 64,000 enlightened beings going to come from that are supposed to be in place by 2012? He's been doing this for 20 years, and all of the ones now he's just discounted. Well, okay, they're not actually enlightened, they're in an enlightenment state. So he's got himself between a rock and a hard place. There are no actually enlightened beings there. But he can't say they're not enlightened because the sham is up. Okay? So he has to say, well, they're in an enlightenment state, which comes and goes. No, what he's been preaching, what he's been giving is oneness. Oneness comes and goes. It's not enlightenment. It has never been enlightenment. It will never be enlightenment. Okay? Enlightenment doesn't come and go. There's not an enlightenment state that comes and goes. It's either enlightenment or it's oneness. Oneness comes and goes. You could be in oneness state though for years, okay? But it's still not enlightenment. There is no persona in enlightenment. There's no person to come and go in enlightenment. That's why on this path, until one is stabilized, you can have an experience of seeing absolute, like what Ramana was speaking on this before. You can be in a nirvikalpa samadhi, that when you're in that meditation state, there is the seeing of absolute. But when one comes out of it, you pick up an ego where you left off. Okay, that's not enlightenment. Okay. Or you can remain in a nirvikalpa sahaj samadhi. Nirvikalpa is being in absolute. Okay. A sahaj is effortless. Nirvikalpa sahaj samadhi, the effortless state. There is no more mind waves that are creating an ego. No more mind waves creating an ego. If there are mind waves going, moving mind in motion, then ego continues to be created. And that's why on this path, when everything falls away, one is not done. You're just beginning. At this point is why you're given non-dual texts to read, to allow the mind to remain still, to allow the mind to remain blown out so it doesn't seek to recreate ego. Okay? Oneness comes early on, can come early on in the path, where you see the divine in everyone. Everything is divine. Oneness. Okay? But there's still the division of persona. We're all divine. Division. Okay? In enlightenment, there is no we all. There is only that. And that is not a persona. This is why, when that takes place, and the consciousness gets dissolved into that or imploded into that, why the personal story is at an end. It never was, as if it never took place. The personal story doesn't change into something else, into becoming a God being. No. If one sees that a persona has become a God being, that's still oneness. That sense of an individual me story is gone. As if it never took place. I have never been. There's only that one without a second. That's realization. That's enlightenment. That's enlightenment. One can have a falling away experience. And this has happened to a few people that had come here. And when that takes place, then it's even more important to remain in touch with Guru, to continue to do the practices, and to put into place additional things such as the non-dual texts. So that, like the Vivek Chudamani says, the peepal tree does not get watered again and reroot and grow. It needs to be pulled up by the roots for it to remain as enlightenment.